You know that sinking feeling when your luxury SUV starts sounding like a blender full of bolts, and the repair bill looks like a mortgage payment? Yeah, that stops today. Because in this video, we're diving into 5 classic luxury SUVs that were built so tough, you could practically drive them through an apocalypse. These are the ones mechanics respect, owners brag about, and used car hunters still chase, even decades later. Let's start with a model that changed the luxury off-road game forever. When people talk about early 2000s luxury SUVs that just won't quit, the Acura MDX quietly sits in the background, grinning. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but if you want a premium daily driver that'll shrug off 2 decades of abuse, this one deserves your respect. Built on the same solid platform as the Honda Pilot, the first-gen MDX came with a 3.5-liter V6, pushing about 240 horsepower through a 5-speed automatic. It wasn't a rocket, but the torque was smooth and reliable, perfect for families who needed comfort without the headaches of European complexity. Fuel economy hovered around 17 city and 23 highway, which wasn't bad for a 7-seater with full-time all-wheel drive. The MDX's secret weapon was its super-handling all-wheel drive, an advanced torque vectoring system that actually made this SUV feel planted in corners, something no one expected from a family hauler in the early 2000s. Inside, it offered leather seats, real wood trim, and navigation screens that felt futuristic back then. Known issues, the transmission on early models, especially 2001 to 2003, was its Achilles heel. Overheating and slipping were common, but if it's been replaced or rebuilt properly, you're good to go. Suspension bushings and motor mounts also wear with age, but parts are cheap and plentiful. Inspection tip: check for transmission service records and look for blue smoke on startup, a sign of worn valve seals. Ideal buyer: someone who values reliability and subtle luxury over showy badges. It's the SUV you buy once and keep for 10 years without a second thought. Price today? A clean, well-maintained MDX can be found between $5,000 and $8,000, and you can easily squeeze another 100,000 miles out of it. And if you thought this was underrated, wait until you see the next one. An American-built SUV that had all the right ingredients, but got lost in the Lincoln Shuffle? The early 2000s were full of luxury SUVs trying to prove they were more than badge jobs. And then came the Lincoln Aviator, a mid-sized luxury SUV that looked like a baby Navigator, but drove like a muscle car in a suit. Sadly, it got overshadowed, but ask anyone who's owned one and they'll tell you this thing was seriously underrated. Under the hood sat Ford's legendary 4.5-liter DOHC V8, the same heart found in the Mustang Mach-1. It pumped out a confident 200 and 202 horsepower, enough to move this 3-row SUV with surprising urgency. Mated to a 5-speed automatic and rear, or all-wheel drive, the Aviator delivered real old-school grunt wrapped in leather and chrome. Inside, it was peak Lincoln comfort: soft leather, real wood, and seats that felt like armchairs. Everything about it whispered American luxury, but the mechanical DNA was all business. It shared its bones with the 3rd-gen Ford Explorer, meaning cheap parts and a strong frame. Now, the weak spots. The timing chain tensioners on the 4.5 can fail if oil changes are ignored, and early models had transmission quirks. Some interior plastics don't age gracefully, and the rear air suspension can leak with time, but fix those, and you've got a highway cruiser that still feels rock solid 20 years later. Buying tip: aim for 2004 to 2005 models, as they got improved transmission tuning and better reliability. Look for service records, especially for timing components and coolant leaks around the intake manifold. Ideal buyer: someone who wants that vintage V8 charm with genuine luxury, but doesn't want to pay Navigator prices or deal with European maintenance. Today, you can pick one up between $4,000 and $7,000. And when properly maintained, it'll easily cross 200,000 miles. Enjoying the golden tips, mate? So grab your phone and help us giving that sneaky subscription, like, and telling me which city are you watching from. And if you think an American V8 SUV aging this well is impressive, wait until we cross the Atlantic, because the next one is a Scandinavian sleeper that mixed safety, luxury, and brute force in one unexpected package. Now, this one is the definition of a sleeper. When you hear Volvo, you probably think of safe, boxy wagons and polite Swedish engineering, not a thundering V8 luxury SUV. But the Volvo XC90 V8 was exactly that, a sophisticated family hauler with a big secret under the hood, and it might just be one of the most overlooked premium SUVs of its era. This engine wasn't your average Volvo power plant, it was built by Yamaha, a 4.4-liter V8 pushing out 311 horsepower with a smooth, melodic growl. It came paired with a 6-speed automatic and full-time all-wheel drive. capable of towing up to 5,000 pounds, 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds. Not bad for a tall, safe Swedish tank. Inside, the XC90 offered minimalist luxury, high-quality leather, soft lighting, and some of the best seats ever made in an SUV. Even the third row was usable, a rarity in mid-size luxury vehicles. Volvo's obsession with safety meant side curtain airbags, roll stability control, and an extremely strong chassis. Families loved it because it didn't just feel premium, it felt protective. But no car is perfect. The biggest red flag? The transmission on early models can be sensitive if fluid wasn't changed regularly. Engine mounts tend to wear faster than average, and the AWD system's bevel gear needs inspection. Leaks there can lead to costly repairs. Otherwise, the Yamaha V8 itself is a gem. Smooth, durable, and happy to rev. Buying tip: look for models from 2007 onward when most early transmission bugs were sorted. Make sure the AWD system engages correctly and check for a full maintenance history. Ideal buyer? Someone who wants a refined, powerful SUV that doesn't scream for attention. The kind of person who enjoys driving something different but timeless. You can still find clean examples between $6,000 and $9,000, and enthusiasts swear it's one of the most rewarding budget luxury SUVs you can own. And next, we're shifting gears to Japan, where Infiniti built a premium off-roader so tough it outlasted some of its rivals by decades. Before Infiniti went all in on sleek crossovers and high-tech interiors, they built something rugged, honest, and nearly indestructible: the Infiniti QX4. This SUV was basically a luxury-skinned Nissan Pathfinder, but don't let that fool you. It had real off-road DNA, bulletproof reliability, and just enough refinement to make you feel like you'd made it without breaking the bank. Under the hood, you got Nissan's iconic VG33E 3.3-liter V6 in early models, making around 170 horsepower. Later years brought the VQ35DE 3.5-liter V6, pushing up to 240 horsepower. The same engine family that powered the 350Z, both were paired with a 4-speed automatic and a robust 4-wheel drive system with a low range. This wasn't a mall crawler. It could climb trails, ford creeks, and still glide home in quiet luxury. Inside, Infiniti dressed the Pathfinder bones in soft leather, real wood, and one of the smoothest ride qualities in its class. The design was simple, almost Spartan by luxury standards, but it aged well. No silly electronic gimmicks, just straightforward comfort and dependability. Known weak points? Rust, especially around the rear frame rails on northern cars. That's the QX4's only real Achilles heel. The transmissions are generally stout, though fluid changes are a must. Suspension bushings and exhaust components wear with age, but they're inexpensive to replace. Buying tip: aim for the 2001 to 2003 models with the 3.5-liter engine. They're smoother, stronger, and slightly better on fuel. Check the frame thoroughly for corrosion, and if you're buying from a rust-free state, you've hit gold. Ideal buyer? Someone who wants an old-school, body-on-frame luxury SUV that'll survive the apocalypse, or at least your next camping trip. Today, prices hover between $4,000 and $7,000 for clean examples. For that, you're getting a tank that can outlast most modern crossovers twice over. And just when you think we've covered every forgotten gem, there's one more. A Cadillac that quietly redefined what an American luxury crossover could be. And it's aged far better than most people realize. When people think of Cadillac, they picture massive chrome sedans or Escalades with enough presence to block out the sun. But in the mid-2000s, Cadillac quietly built something different: the SRX, a luxury crossover that blended sharp handling, solid build quality, and surprising durability. It never got the spotlight, but those who know. Built on the same Sigma platform as the CTS, the SRX wasn't a rebadged SUV. It was engineered to drive like a sport wagon with real road manners. Buyers had two power choices: a 3.6-liter V6 with around 255 horsepower, or a 4.6-liter Northstar V8 pushing close to 320 horsepower. Both came with either rear-wheel or all-wheel drive, and a 5 or 6-speed automatic transmission, depending on the year. The V6 was more reliable and easier to maintain, while the V8 delivered that old-school Cadillac rumble. Inside, the SRX was peak early millennium GM luxury: clean lines, leather everywhere, and optional third-row seating that folded flat into the floor. The panoramic sunroof was enormous for its time, flooding the cabin with light and making it feel far more upscale than its price suggested. Known weak points? The rear air suspension on some models can leak, and early V6 timing chains were sensitive to skipped oil changes. The Northstar V8 had its reputation for oil leaks and head gasket issues, but properly serviced examples can still go the distance. Electrical gremlins, especially window regulators and sensors, pop up occasionally, but parts are easy to find and affordable. Buying tip: aim for 2007 to 2009 models with the updated V6 and 6-speed transmission. They're smoother, more efficient, and far less trouble-prone. Always check service records and make sure the sunroof drains are clear. Clogged ones can cause interior leaks. Ideal buyer: someone who wants a genuine luxury feel without the usual luxury headaches. The SRX is perfect for drivers who value balance, comfort, style, and a bit of personality, all wrapped in a package that still turns heads today. Clean, low-mileage examples hover around $6,000 to $9,000, and they're one of the few affordable Cadillacs from that era that actually deliver both performance and longevity. And just like that, we've explored 5 underrated luxury SUVs that can still go the distance without draining your wallet. But before you scroll away, grab your phone, hit subscribe, and drop a comment telling us which city you're watching from. Till next one.